Good evening, and welcome to AJP's closing brief. One day after Northeast Asia suffered its sharpest sell-off in weeks, investors came back to the same trade they had just abandoned: artificial intelligence. The panic did not last long. Markets across Northeast Asia rebounded Thursday as investors concluded that the previous day's sell-off had gone too far. The catalyst came from South Korea's central bank, which said the recent correction was unlikely to develop into a prolonged downturn because the global semiconductor upcycle remains intact. That reassurance arrived just as investors positioned for SK Hynix's Nasdaq ADR debut on Friday, reviving confidence in the AI trade. South Korea led the recovery. The KOSPI climbed 0.62% to 7,291.91. Japan's Nikkei 225 gained 1.55% to 67,856, while China's Shanghai Composite added 1.26% to 4,020.95. The rebound, however, was far from uniform. Korea and Japan rallied behind semiconductor shares, while China advanced despite weakness in many of its largest blue-chip companies. Semiconductors reclaimed the driver's seat. SK Hynix surged 5.3% to 2186.0001 as investors looked ahead to Friday's Nasdaq ADR listing, a move expected to broaden access for global investors. Samsung Electronics edged up 0.18% to 278.0001, recovering only a fraction of Wednesday's steep decline, while SK Square jumped 4.49% as investors returned to AI-related holdings. The day's gains reflected more than bargain hunting. The Bank of Korea said improving earnings prospects and continued investment in AI infrastructure should keep the semiconductor cycle intact, countering growing skepticism from Wall Street after Goldman Sachs warned that strong earnings alone may no longer be enough to sustain the AI rally. Although the KOSPI surrendered much of its morning advance, buyers continued to favor semiconductor names over the broader market. China's market told a different story. The Shanghai Composite rose 1.26% to reclaim the 4,000 level, yet several heavyweight stocks actually moved lower. Kweichow Mutai fell 1.58% to 1,180.29 yuan. China Yangtze Power slipped 0.68%, and China Shenhua Energy lost 0.66%. That divergence suggests Thursday's advance was driven less by China's traditional blue-chip leaders and more by gains across a wider group of cyclical and technology shares as regional risk appetite improved. Unlike Seoul and Tokyo, Shanghai's rebound was not powered by AI bellwethers, but by broader participation across the market. Tokyo's recovery looked much more familiar. Semiconductor equipment makers led the advance as investors returned to AI-related stocks after the previous day's sell-off. Advantest surged 6.17% to 29,245 yen, while Tokyo Electron climbed 5.51% to 71,060 yen, providing the biggest lift to the Nikkei 225, which finished up 1.55% at 67,856.00. SoftBank Group added a modest 0.19%, but the market's leadership remained firmly concentrated in semiconductor equipment suppliers, reflecting renewed optimism that AI investment spending by global technology companies has yet to peak. Thursday's rebound did not settle the debate over artificial intelligence. Instead, it showed how quickly sentiment can swing. One day, investors questioned whether the semiconductor boom had peaked. The next, they rushed back into the very same trade. Friday's Nasdaq debut of SK Hynix's ADR will offer the market its next test, and perhaps a clearer answer to whether this week's sell-off was merely a pause or the beginning of something bigger. We'll be watching SK Hynix's Nasdaq debut and whether today's rebound attracts fresh foreign buying in tomorrow's closing brief. Thank you for watching AJP.